And now to the Reiner Report. Governor Gavin Newsom wants to tax oil companies for pocketing profits while Californians continue to pay the highest gas prices in the country.
It's crazy. It's like $6 or $7 now in some
yeah.
places here in California. It's called a windfall profit tax. And ABC 10's Morgan Reiner, who covers all things politics, is here now to explain how it works.
The concept is simple enough. Anytime an oil company charges way more at the pump than the actual price of crude oil, then the oil company is taxed, and that money is supposed to go back to the consumers. But here's the thing, Chris and Laura, even though Newsom announced the idea on Friday, the legislative session to even consider the idea doesn't start back up for months.
The average price of gasoline in California today is $6.38. That's about $2.60 more than the national average.
Oil companies, they provide no explanation. The fact is, they're ripping you off.
So he proposed an idea.
I'm calling for a windfall tax.
Tax the profits the oil companies make and give it back to the people.
I'm very excited that the governor has followed our lead in the assembly.
That's Assemblymember Alex Lee on the phone. He loves the idea. In fact, he introduced the idea in a bill form back in March when lawmakers were in session, something Newsom did not weigh in on then.
I think seeing the oil cartel again goose the California consumer and the fact of his own perhaps political ambitions is changing his mind on these things. That's okay, so long as he understands the merits of good policy.
But the legislative session doesn't start back up until December. That's months away. Newsom could call a special session to make it happen now.
I think a special session would be warranted.
But Republican Senator Brian Dahle, who is running against Newsom, said it won't happen.
He just wants to blame somebody else and get some points right here at the end of the last month of an election.
He doesn't like the idea of the tax anyway, says it will only increase costs for consumers. He'd prefer to drop taxes.
Californians should know that we pay a really high tax in California. So there's 54 cents a gallon that goes to fixing our highways. There's another 20 cents a gallon that goes to California Air Resources Board. So it adds up to about $1.20 that Californians pay in taxes for a gallon of gas.
Now, I reached out to the governor for an interview as well, but his office declined.